Howdy, my name is Good Guy Mike on my YouTube channel. Welcome to Subnautica. So, if you're watching this video, you have more than likely decided to take the plunge into Subnautica and buy the game, joining the thousands of other people who have also decided to get their feet wet with this amazing experience. That said, it is a little complicated starting off, and since it is an early access game, it changes constantly. This is the newest updated version as of the H2O update on how to get started in Subnautica. With all that said, go ahead, stick around, and we're going to cover everything from how to catch fish and how to build your own little base. Alright guys, let's get on into it. Alright, good guys, welcome to the escape pod. So, when the Aurora crashed, you were jettisoned from the ship inside this escape pod, becoming the only living member of the entire Aurora crew. Congratulations, get over your sadness quickly because it is time to start surviving. First thing that you need to do in this hostile wasteland is go and check this little open storage cabinet, and inside here will be some random loot. If you are one of the lucky people that spawns in with good loot such as silver, glass, or other tools, congratulations. If you're one of the people that spawns in with bad loot, well, consider yourself one of the many and continue on because it doesn't really matter. We're going to figure out how to survive in this wasteland by ourselves anyways. Okay, first thing you need to do is jump right on into the water. Now, this game can be equated to a few things, one of which is hoarding at sea. What you're going to want to do is find and grab everything. If it can move from the sea bottom, you're going to want to grab it, including these limestone bricks. You're going to break these because inside these are precious minerals, such as titanium and copper. Then you're going to want to go and swim around and grab this metal scrap off the bottom of the ocean, as well as these quartz chunks like this. These quartz chunks and the metal scrap are going to be the two main components to almost everything that you're going to build in this game. That said, there are a few other useful components such as these mushrooms and salt. That said, stick to collecting quartz, titanium, copper when you first start because they are going to be the most useful the most soon. Now remember folks, when you are hoarding at sea, it is very important that you keep an eye on your air gauge. That little O2 monitor at the left will tick down over time, and if it reaches 0, you will drown. There is no damage indicator that starts ticking down that gives you the amount of time to get up to the surface. Once that hits 0, you have about 2 seconds to hit air, otherwise you're going to black out and die, losing almost everything in your inventory, and that is a bad thing. So we're going to go ahead and watch that. We'll solve that problem of having such a short amount of time, but first you want to collect a handful of steel and a handful of quartz. Alright, good guys, so once you have yourself about 8 quartz and 3 scrap metal, you're going to want to return to your base because it is going to be time for lesson number 2, which is crafting your equipment. Alright guys, so this right here is the fabricator. The fabricator is the most useful piece of technology in this entire game. It is going to hold your recipes for everything in this game, including food, breaking down basic components, creating equipment and deployables, as well as building larger things such as beacons and mobile vehicle bays. We'll get to that later. Right now we're going to focus on the basic resources tab. You're going to go to basic materials and you're going to click on this titanium up here. That is going to start breaking down the scrap metal in your inventory because it is useless to you unless it is an actual titanium ingots or balls. Not ingots, you do not want to craft the ingots. Once you've broken down all of your titanium, what you're going to want to go ahead and craft is 1 glass and 3 silicon rubber. And why 3? Because I'll show you here in 1 second. So that's what you're going to need for your entire set of equipment. Once you have yourself 1 glass and 3 silicon rubber and a bunch of titanium in your inventory, what you're going to want to go and do is use the fabricator, go down to personal now, go start with equipment. You're going to make yourself 1 O2 tank. This is going to use your glass, and then you're going to make yourself a pair of fins. The fins are super useful because they allow you to swim faster, and the O2 tank is super useful because it allows you to hold your breath longer underwater. Then you're going to want to go to tools, and you're going to make yourself your survival knife with your last bit of silicon rubber, and that should automatically equip to your hotbar. If it does not, you can go into your inventory and select where you want it to go in your hotbar by clicking 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Once you have that, go ahead, pull it out because it is time to start collecting some food. Now, as a normal human person on an alien planet, you are going to get 2 things, hungry and thirsty. So what you're going to want to do is collect these fish, the boomerangs, and these fish, the air sacs. The air sacs and the boomerangs are the 2 most useful fish. You, of course, can get other fish such as the peeper and the Gary, but the Gary doesn't have a whole lot of food and the peeper is very fast, so good luck catching those. You will need this air sac, however, because of water. Once you have your little fish friend in a death grass, go back to the base, hop on inside and go back to your fabricator. It's time to start making some food. Go to the second tab, click sustenance, and start with cooked food. You're going to want to make sure you cook the boomerang, not the air sac. Cook your boomerangs, not your air sacs. I'll say that one more time. Cook the boomerang, not the air sac. Why? Because the boomerang gives you lots of food, the air sac does not, as well as the air sac is used to make filtered water. See our little fish friend right here? We're going to use his membranes to filter out the water so that we do not die of thirst, because you are a freshwater creature living in a saltwater environment and you will thus get thirsty. Go ahead, pull up tab to open your inventory, eat your cooked boomerang, drink your water, be happy. That said, raw fish will do in a pinch if you are starving to death at the moment, but it is much better to eat cooked fish because it doesn't risk such things such as health loss and water loss. Okay, once you got yourself a decent amount of food and water, it is time for lesson 4, which is advanced crafting and putting that knife to use. Alright, ladies and gents, earlier we collected some salt. Now we're going to collect the second component of that, which is coral shell. What you're going to do is you're going to pull out your knife and start cutting the coral samples from any big tube coral like this. If you cut little flat corals like this, you're going to get the wrong type of coral, which will be useful later, but not at this moment. So, big coral tubes and salt are the two things you need, as well as this stuff over here, which is called creeper vine. Now be careful when going and getting your creeper vines, because not everything in the sea is so friendly as your little air sac friends, which lets you cut them into little pieces and drink their bodies. Those buggers down there are called stalkers, and stalkers want nothing more than to eat you and the metal around your ship. Okay, once you have your creeper vine, your coral, and your salt, it is time to head back to your base. Once in your base, you're going to go use the fabricator again. You're going to do your resources, basic materials, and you're going to make bleach. Bleach is made from salt and coral and is used in two things. First, it is used in water. You can make disinfected water, which gives you more water than the normal filter water. Second, and more important, is that you go to personal equipment and you can make a first aid kit. First aid kits are very important because they heal health and are going to keep you alive when you go to hostile environments to get more rare resources. If you find yourself with an absolute surplus of items, go ahead, open up this little storage container on the left, store all your unneeded stuff in here. Consider yourself a lucky fellow for having so much grand resources available at your disposal, and continue back out into the wild because it is time for lesson number 5. Alright, so lesson number 5. At this point, if you survived this long and you're still watching, you're curious about how to build your own base underwater. Well, my friend, you're going to use your almighty fabricator once again. Go to your personal tools, and the tool that you're going to need to eventually build is the habitat builder. A habitat builder is made from a computer chip and a battery. Let's start with the battery because the battery is the easy part, and oftentimes you spawn with it in here. Battery is made from 2 acid and 1 copper. Acid is got from these acid mushrooms here. All you need to do is pick 2 of these. Copper is got from these limestone outcroppings, which you have hopefully been breaking and collecting, so you already should have some copper in your inventory. If you don't, just go ahead, find some limestone outcroppings. The limestone outcroppings also tend to have titanium in them. If they do, go ahead, break another one and keep trying until you get 1 copper and 2 acid mushrooms. Once back on your ship, you're going to go to the fabricator, go to resources, and go to electronics. Here you have the battery, which is going to use up your copper and your 2 mushrooms automatically. Good deal. Good job. You have yourself a battery. Go ahead, store it over in this container. Now grab your health pack and your knife because it is time for the fun part, which is the computer chip. If you go over to the fabricator and you click on the fabricator, go to electronics, select computer chip, you're going to see that you need table core sample 2, silver ore, and quartz. Quartz is easy, as you guys already know how to collect that. Table coral is easy as well. If you go to any rock outcropping that looks like it has little coral tables on it, you're going to take out your knife, cut that with a knife, and that's table coral. You need 2 of those. Now comes the fun part, silver. Now, remember how we had you craft that health pack and we made sure that you grabbed it before you went out into the water? Well, that is because you are about to start swimming in some hostile territory. Silver ore can unfortunately only be found at deeper depths and inside of the creeper vine forests or the kelp forest. The one problem is that those stalkers are also circulating in the forest. As you can see, this is going to be a rough situation. So what you're going to want to do is make sure that you have your health pack on you, and you're going to want to swim over to the kelp forest on the surface, find what looks like a good deep spot and swim down. All right, so I found what I think is a good spot. I'm going to go ahead and swim down into the depths. I have spotted myself a sandstone, what looks like to be a sandstone chunk. If we get down here deep enough, we can break it with a swing of the knife. Unfortunately, that was a copper. We got to keep searching underneath here until we find ourselves a silver ore. The key is to keep looking. Look deep down under the water, and hopefully you'll eventually find this. Now be careful under here, because not only are there the stalkers that want to eat you, but also bloodfish. Bloodfish will latch onto your arm. If a bloodfish latches onto your arm, you're going to want to go and punch it off. As you can see there, I grabbed myself a nice little piece of sandstone. I got myself silver. Keep going around and breaking things. Once you get one, the best chance of your survival is to swim up to the surface immediately and get the heck out of there. Okay, once you make it back to your little escape pod, the first thing that you're going to do is go over to your fabricator, click on it, go to your resources, electronics, craft yourself your computer chip. Congratulations, if you made this. All you need to do is pick up your battery that you made earlier, go to your personal tools, make your habitat builder. The habitat builder is the biggest part in progressing in this game, because once you have this, you can right click with it and select things to build, which leads us to our final lesson: building. Alright, so home building. Home building is pretty self-explanatory. That said, before you go out and start building your own little base, you're going to want to make sure that you have at least 3 things in your inventory. At least 1 glass, a bunch of titanium, and a bunch of quartz. Once you have all that in your inventory, you're going to swim out into the water and find a spot that you feel is sufficient for our base. First thing you want to build is your foundation. So you're going to right click, click foundation. It's going to take 4 titanium. Find a spot on the ground that you feel comfortable with. I'm going to go right here. You're going to want to build at least 2 titanium foundations before building your basic room. They tend to pop in next to each other. If you can't get it to pop in next to each other, go ahead and swivel it around. Next thing you're going to want to build is your multi-purpose room. That goes and sits right on here. Go ahead and build that. That's going to be your little area. It's going to be your house and home. Once you get your house built, the next thing that you're going to want to build is a hatch so you can get in. This is why you needed the glass in your inventory. Go ahead, add a hatch to one side, and bingo, you can go ahead and swim inside. You now have yourself a little home. As you can see at the top of the screen, however, we have 0 of 0 power, meaning that if we built a fabricator in here, it would not work. So what you're going to need to go and build is yourself some solar panels. Solar panels are going to take quartz and titanium. Solar panels can be found by right-clicking, going to the power section, and clicking solar panels. Solar panels work when attached to your base. There are many different locations that you can put them, from on top of your base to the actual foundation. Now, if you run out of resources halfway through, you don't have to worry. All you need to do is go collect more resources, process them in your home base, and bring them back here. Now, once you get a little bit of power in here, you can step inside and see that each solar panel increases not only the speed at which your base collects power, but also the amount of power that your base can hold. Each solar panel increases the amount of power that your base can hold by 50. Once you get your base all set up, first thing that you want to build is your fabricator, because the fabricator can allow you to start processing more stuff, just like inside of your base. And bingo, you have yourself a nice little home. Now, this is a very basic tutorial. Some other stuff that I would recommend building right away are some storage lockers and a fish tank. Fish tank will allow you to store fish, as well as it gives you something nice and pretty to look at inside your base. Okay, so this is a very, very basic guide on what to do to get yourself a nice little foothold in the game Subnautica. If you guys are interested and want to see a more in-depth guide on more stuff, such as how to build a sea moth, how to build the welder, all sorts of stuff like that, let me know and I will oblige you with another video. Until then, until this video is updated, I will see you guys in the next one. Hopefully, if you enjoy this series, go ahead and check out my Subnautica series, or go check out the other videos on my channel. I try really hard. Subscribe or share with a friend, because the channel only grows if you guys share it. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I hope this was enlightening. If it was, let me know. You guys, keep being you guys, and I will see you in the next one. Take it easy. Bye-bye!